Hi, I'm Lou. Welcome to my first video. Today, we'll be doing a pick a pile intuitive tarot reading. I was inspired to do this because it's Pride. Happy Pride, everybody. And so, instead of just a pile, you'll also be picking a unicorn. Anyhow, what I'm going to be looking at are the elemental energies and how they show up in our lives, or show up in your life. Did I mention this is my first video? And by that, what I mean is that starting with, for example, fire, we'll be looking at how the energy of fire shows up in your life. So creativity, intuition, inspiration. And for air, we'll be looking at the communicative and mental parts of our lives, our thinking, our thought processes. And of course, in water, it's more the emotional aspects of our lives or our subconscious needs and wants and how that shows up. And then, of course, for pentacles, is sort of how this manifests in our physical reality. So, I've pulled a few tarot cards and a few oracle cards for each of the piles. We do have 4 piles. This is meant for entertainment only. Take what resonates, leave the rest. My intention is to bring messages to uplift. See how that works. Okay. So one of the first things that I did is I pulled a fairy card for each pile. And for the fairy card, I'm actually going to read directly from the book. So this fairy card is Ecstasis. Ecstasis? I'm not sure. Anyhow, as you can see, it's a beautiful card. So let's see what it says. Ecstasy, joy, rapture, and motivation. Ecstasis is a song, the energy and power that fills unity. There is nothing else but that song, no voice to sing, no ears to hear, just the infinite and eternal song, the energy of which completely fills eternity and infinity. I'm not going to read the entire thing because it's quite long, but it says here, ecstasy is something people seek. It feels better than good. It feels, well, ecstatic. We experience it in tiny bursts and in bigger surges. It enables us to recognize the sacred nature of our own being as an experienced fact, not merely as a theory or article of faith. Ecstasy is not something we can make within ourselves, but something that flows through us when we open ourselves to it. It fills us with the power and with the motivation to grow, to become what we have the positive potential of being, and to fulfill our purpose in being here and now on this planet. When we are filled with these surges of joy, we are empowered and we know that we are on the appropriate track for us, the track that leads to greater meaning and fulfillment in our lives. The card in reading says, among other things, go for it. It confirms that we are on course, moving in a good direction, and that we are in harmony with the great song. It says great joy and great accomplishment are within your reach. It sings, its song also lights up and empowers those around it, healing the past, intensifying the moment, and enlightening the future. Well, that's quite the auspicious beginning to the first card in the first reading. All right, so let's see what we have here. So in the fire realm, so again, creativity, inspiration, intuition. Okay, the Justice card, 7 of Wands and 2 of Wands, and the Oracle card that I pulled for this energy is the Moon. Oh my God, I am just loving this. So the Justice card, of course, speaks of trying to find a harmonious balance, trying to find that place between the masculine energy and the feminine energy, between head and heart. It's really such a lovely energy, especially in combination with the ecstasis. Like, that's such a beautiful place to be. And so creatively, like, you're just really reaching for all of this amazing stuff. And also with the moon card showing up as your oracle card for this, it's like, good golly, the intuition is just all there. And in addition to that, you also have these two wands cards, which are fire, that I pulled in the fire category. So it's like, it's like firing. The Two of Wands, you know, is about trying to keep balance. It's about moving forward. It's very forward-looking energy. And what's interesting is the Seven of Wands, you know, the sevens are all about victory. And this card is also sometimes called the Lord of Valor. And it's sometimes it can be from a place of having to fend off or be defensive of or in defense of a thing. So not necessarily defensiveness in the typical way that we use the word or with the regular connotations, but literally from having to defend something that you hold of value. And in some of the representations of these cards, of the Seven of Wands, you know, the person is kind of on higher ground, outnumbered, and also maybe perhaps not on the most even footing. And even here in this card, you can kind of see that there's just one leg up. So it's this real, there's a lot of vigilance that's required in here. And I think it's interesting that the word vigilance just kind of came out of my mouth. Well, at the same time, there's also this, like, I mean, not that vigilance and discernment are the two things, or they're the same thing by any stretch of the imagination, but I really do feel like in this case that there is a similarity between the two. You know, there's a watchfulness to both of them. There's a observer quality to it, sort of being. It's interesting, you know, because like these two really talk, you know, these two cards are really giving off the energy of really leaning into intuition and really looking forward. And I wonder if, and you know, again, take what resonates, leave the rest. But I wonder if sometimes, you know, it can be scary to lean into our creative passions. It can be intimidating. And for myself, I know that sometimes when I'm scared about something, I get defensive, even with myself, about myself. It's a mess up there sometimes, folks. But, you know, I wonder if maybe this defensiveness isn't necessarily a feeling of having to defend from external forces so much as just a sense of feeling off kilter, because this is otherwise really powerful energy, and that powerful energy can be disconcerting. So, okay, let's see what we've got up next. So this is the air element that we're looking at next. And for the oracle card, we have live in the moment. What you are looking for is within you. And we have the King of Pentacles, the Justice card again. Okay. And the Eight of Pentacles. Okay, all right, well, all right. So again, there's this feeling of balance. I mean, the King of Pentacles, my Pentacles is so, like, rich and abundant, and literally, I love this deck, by the way. You know, I love here that, like, you know, on the star, it's got the word daddy, and like, yeah, the King of Pentacles in its highest aspect is really abundant in his manifestations. And since we're looking at the air element, you know, that's like thoughts and ideas and communication. And so it, you know, again, just interesting that the Justice card really popped up again. So again, that striving for balance and moving forward and moving forward towards balance from this place of abundance and having all of these grand ideas. Like there's just in the few cards that we've pulled already here, we've got two of the same major arcana and a court card. And then the Eight of Pentacles is all about work and due diligence and laying the groundwork. And sometimes it's not the sexiest card, you know, in here, like, just interestingly, I want to point out that, you know, all of this paperwork, all of this stuff, like, look how satisfied they look and look how proud they are. But the actual task of doing all of that, of getting all of that paperwork in order, can sometimes feel daunting. And in fact, that's actually an abundance right there. And so, you know, I'm wondering if this isn't more, since we're looking at the air element, it's almost like I've got so many grand ideas, just this abundance of ideas, and trying to use them in a way that bridges the gap between these opposing forces. Because justice, of course, is an external thing, but also justice can refer to an internal process. You know, again, with those balancing within us of head and heart, masculine and feminine. So that's really, really wild. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, going back to the Seven of Wands, if maybe you weren't feeling a little bit off kilter, if this is resonating for you, because this is some pretty powerful energy. I do really, really love the reminder to live in the moment, because that is sometimes a very difficult thing to do. And especially when we're in a period of time where there's a lot of powerful energy around us, it can be very easy, I find, sometimes for some of us to be kicked out of the present moment, which of course is the only place that we ever have full agency. So it's a good place to show up at. Okay, let's move ahead to the water, and for the oracle card for that element is love. I'm not even shitting you. It's the Justice card again. And I have pretty full body goosebumps happening right now. Also, temptation, which is also the card of the devil, and the Six of Water. So, goodness gracious. So we've got love showing up as your oracle in the aspect, or in the element rather, that speaks to emotions. We have this Justice card showing up again. And also, you know, okay, so we're going to leave that Justice card for a second here, because I think it's starting to become a little bit clearer to me. So the Temptation card, also sometimes in some decks, that is the Devil card. And sometimes this can show up as self-defeating behaviors, and the things that it's not necessarily like a toxic relationship or an addiction or something like that, although that certainly can be part of it, and something that we should always, of course, be aware of in our lives. But it can also be sometimes the internal chains that bind us, and especially where this is showing up in the water. I really do, I'm really feeling that this is more of, again, looking to that discernment between like our inner conflicts. It's like you're really, really trying to move into this new energy, this really powerful new energy. And the Six of Water, I mean, this is such a great representation of it, this deck. It's nostalgia. It's looking back. Sometimes, oh, interesting. I've never noticed that about this card. The reflection in the card is she's not looking at her own reflection. It's looking at the reflection of a little child. So, you know, again, it's very much this like looking back on your own childhood with nostalgia. And it's interesting because the little girl in the reflection is sitting this like with her hands like this, almost in a sort of praying position. And then the figure of the woman looking into the water, she's like kind of holding her stomach. And yeah, the more I'm seeing here and the more that I'm talking about this, I really think you're going through a pretty big change. You've really been laying the groundwork. You're starting to really see some abundance and some shifting in your thinking patterns, and really trying to pull all of the different aspects of yourself into this sense of balance and equity. This is tremendous. I love all of this. Okay, so let's look at the earth. And here we have Divinity was the oracle card. And then we have 4 tarot cards, the 9 of Cups, the Wheel of Fortune, and the Page of Wands. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah, this is, and then, okay, before I get to that, oh, I got so excited. So, okay, so being that this is on the manifestation level of our, like, physical plane, you know, divinity, divine timing is really reaching out for you here in the physical plane, not just energetically, not just emotionally, not just in the way your thoughts are looking and or starting to move and really transform. And if you're not a fan of the word divinity, source, higher self, use whatever works for you. It's all the same energy. Energy is just energy. But anyhow, so with the 9 of Cups and with the Wheel of Fortune, like, again, just abundance and the ending of a cycle. And here's the neat thing about the Wheel of Fortune that I like to think about is, on the playground, they have these structures, or I don't know if they do anymore. They probably don't because everybody got hurt on them. But where you could like spin in a circle. And if you just hung on around the edges, then you were just in for a ride and maybe get flung. That's actually how I got hurt. I mean, not that that was the last time I did it, but still. But you know, if you could sort of pull your way towards the center, then regardless of the chaos that was happening around you, you were pretty solid. And the Wheel of Fortune is very much that same sort of energy where it's like a cycle is energy. A cycle is ending. Cycles will come and go. And if we choose to learn and progress and grow from the repeating cycles in our life, then that gives us a grasp to pull ourselves towards the center where there's a little bit of stability. Because, of course, stability doesn't mean nothing happens around you. That's, I mean, there will always be things happening. Stability more comes from an internal sense of stability. And the Page of Wands, I mean, and you know, the page is also sometimes the princesses, you know, and being represented by Earth. So this is the fiery part of Earth showing up in the earthy part of the reading. This is like new inspiration, new vivacity. I don't even know if that's a word, but new excitement, new motivation, creativity, inspiration, all coming into your actual physical plane. Oh gosh, I really love this. This is so like, whoo, friend. This is some big, big, big fucking energy. It really is. But you are doing okay. You're doing just fine. Just fine. Last thing that I pulled was a couple of additional just overall oracle cards. One of them, Waxing Moon. The energy is gaining momentum. I think that's pretty clear. And again, I just got full goosebumps because this one is answer the call. What is your soul calling you to do? What is the thing that all of these justice cards are asking you to put in alignment with your own soul, towards reaching towards your own divinity and reaching out and towards your own joy, your own ecstasy, your own love, your own moment, like all of this. This is really, truly extraordinary. Whoever you all are, I wish you the absolute best. Take care. Hi, group 2. This is group 2, unicorn for group 2 here. Guess I'll stick this one in my pocket too, because I don't know if I'll figure out how to do timestamps, so somebody might just have to fast forward and look at what unicorn's in my pocket. All right, so to start off with, I pulled a fairy card for you, and this one is the Bodacious Bodoc. So we're going to see what the book has to say about this little guy. Meddling, tampering, sabotage, helpful fixing, and order. Someone somewhere is meddling uninvited in the issue. It may be you, it may be someone else. See if you can work out who it is and begin to untangle the messy web they have woven of confusion and disorder and misunderstanding, so much worse than our own natural disorder. It will take great firmness to get this person to keep his sticky fingers out of your affairs or to keep yours out of the affairs of others. The amount of tact you use in sorting this out is up to you, but the Bodoc type person doesn't usually notice hints. Remember, whoever it is says they mean well. They may even believe it. It is very hard to believe that the Bodoc's bad results are always just an accident, as he insists. He may believe this, but we don't have to. The word sabotage comes to mind. If you don't want the things in the wrong place or if you don't leave the things in the wrong place or dangle any loose ends, he might find some bodacious things to do with them. Okay, interesting. Looking forward to seeing where this goes. Oh, holy heck. And right off the bat, oracle card that I pulled for the fire energy is the Tower. And for cards, we have the High Priestess, the Empress, and the Four of Pentacles. Okay. Interesting, interesting, interesting. So, I'm so curious. Okay, we'll have to see where this goes. So the Tower, of course, is representative of massive transformative change occurring. The High Priestess is our deepest intuition and very feminine, very receptive energy. The High Priestess is also very, this is divine feminine energy. Like there's so much feminine, intuitive, nurturing, receptive energy just between those two cards. And also just, I love the way those two cards look together. Just aesthetically beautiful. And then the Four of Pentacles, gosh, like, we're going to have to see where this goes. So let's just see. Okay. So we have the High Priestess very much getting, it's very much moon energy. and very much getting in touch with the intuition and the unknown. And the High Priestess is the channel in many ways, and the keeper of the secrets. And she sits in a place of wisdom between the pillar of mercy and the pillar of severity. And, you know, a place a little bit removed. And, well, not that she is removed, but just that she can have an objective, otherworldly energy to her. And I feel like the Empress, for all that she is also mothering energy and nurturing energy, and there's so much richness and abundance, being the source of such richness and abundance also places you apart. It's like the difference between, you know, having enough and having a huge amount. Like it's, and then the Four of Pentacles, it's interesting because there's Four of Pentacles is sometimes this energy of staunchly holding on, like stubbornly, even sometimes holding on for the perceived purpose of our own stability, maybe even sometimes for the perceived purpose of our own best intentions, and for doing what is best. Yeah, I'm gonna keep pulling some cards here and see where this evolves. So let's take a look what pulls up for your air energy. So for the air energy, we have balanced life, love seeks well-being. We also have the Eight of Cups, the King of Wands, and the Ten of Swords. So yeah, like in your fire energy, okay, I'm starting to see it now. In your fire energy, which is the first few cards that I pulled out, which is creativity, inspiration, there's a lot of abundance, but also a little bit of fear. It's like there's so much richness there to draw on that it's almost paralyzing. But on the level of air, you know, where your logical, conscious thinking is, you're being asked to remember to have balance. You're also being asked to, like, this Eight of Cups, like, such a beautiful representation of it. Like, look at that whirligig she's got going there. And it just works beautifully, despite the fact that it shouldn't. So there's like this abandon, this imaginativeness, this sort of dreamlike quality to the Eight of Cups. And, you know, the King of Wands, like, I mean, the kings are all masters, right? I mean, they're on the throne. They are a high court card. And yeah, like, there's this real, like, I wonder if you're getting a lot of, like, really, really inspired ideas that maybe have a certain degree of whimsy to them. And it's interesting here because in both cases, the first two cards that I pulled were really very positive, easy energy. And then the third card in each case is more like the harder energy. And I wonder if this is just not that, you know, with all of this energy going around right now, there's a lot happening, man. Like, there's not a part of you that is resistant to this tower that's happening, and resistant to embracing your own intuition, and instead is feeling scared and feeling like it's too much, too hard. But the truth is that it's not. I know it feels that way and it is really scary, but the Ten of Swords also is the end. like the 10 is completion. And so if it's very much that the only way out is through. But once you're through, abundance and options. And, oh, that's just noticing how sunny it is. Yeah, sunshine. All right, so let's take a look at what we've got showing up for water, which is your emotional realm. And we have passion, also an 11 card. Oh, interesting. Yeah, okay, so we've got an 11, and then we've got the 2, which when I looked down, I thought it was an 11 for a sec. Anyhow, so passion, then we have the Hermit, the 7 of Pentacles, or 7 of Earth here in this card, and patience. You know, there's so much, sorry for that long silence. Maybe I'll edit that out. That's awkward. There's so much, gosh, it really does feel a little bit like a push and pull, because there's this passion, but then also being asked to have patience. And, you know, I think I'm going to actually, I'm going to pull a couple of more cards on this and see if I can get some additional clarity, because it's feeling like there's a lot of energy on those cards, and there's a lot of conflicting information. 6 of Wands. Okay. The Hanged Man. The 5 of Cups. Oh, the King of Pentacles is above the deck. Interesting. Yeah, it's, you know, like, emotionally, it looks like there's this real energy of all of the passion and all of the inspiration. I mean, you know, she's communicating with a fairy there, you know, and yeah, like there's, this, it's like there's this inner push-pull happening. It's kind of not dissimilar, actually, from what I saw showing up in the air, too, with this, all this abundance and all of these ideas, and this whimsy, but also this fear to move forward. Sorry about that. I had to close the curtain to the window. Very, very bright in here. Okay, so where were we? So yeah, the Hanged Man and the Hermit showing up are really this looking within, and patience. Now, patience in other tarot decks is also shows up as Temperance. And that's one of the cards of alchemy. So it's again really trying to transform current energies into new energies, and like perhaps current energy would be this feeling of loss and sadness, and that something didn't work out for you, and this energy that you're trying to move forward is again into like shifting thought patterns. And actually this kind of works out now that I'm sort of talking out loud. I think this actually does make sense, because it's like, you know, you're in this place where lots shifting right now, and there's an abundance happening around you, but that abundance in and of itself is a little disconcerting. Okay, so let's take a look at what's happening in your Earth realm. The earth element. And here we have vibrational, being aware of which your vibrational frequency is. We also have the Page of Cups. We have the Ten of Swords again. And we also have the Six of Swords. Oh, yeah. Oh, I do. I love this. So what's happening here is on the physical realm, you really are getting your vibrational frequency in alignment and coming through this massive shift, and yeah, and moving out of this space of hurt and ruin and lack, and ending that cycle and walking away from what no longer serves you and moving on to bigger and better things, which just I'd like to point out in this picture specifically that not only is she walking up the stairs towards greater and better heights, but also she's walking towards the moon, towards her intuition, which brings us back to where we very started. So I really do feel like since this is the first tarot card and this is the last tarot card, I really do feel like energetically you're already here. And physically you're moving to meet up with that same vibration, which is just beautiful. I hope that this transformative process for you is as beautiful as I think it will be. To finish out here with a couple more oracle cards from the universe, I guess. Bits of advice. 1, don't let your past hold you back. Oh, not always good advice. Don't let your past hold you back. Oh, this is another good one. Another good reminder. The ever unfolding rose, cracked open. It's happening for you, not to you. And it's funny because I feel like that maybe this is sometimes how you feel you are, but like this is actually who you are. You know what I mean? Like, don't let your past hold you back. Even if you feel like it's literally cracked you open, which is never a comfortable process, you are an ever unfolding rose with more and more gifts to share with yourself and with the world. I hope you found this helpful. Take care. Group 3, tiny, adorable little unicorn. If you pick this guy, this is your pile. All right, so we are going to start off with the fairy card that I pulled for you, which was He of the Fiery Sword. I'm going to read from the book for just this one card. So it's card number 4. He of the Fiery Sword, the active principle, spiritual will, justice, and protection. The presence of the Fiery Sword's master in a reading can indicate that there is a need for clear and focused will and determination to carry through on decisions, even if much effort is required. Or if he can tell us that such will and strength is present in regard to the issues under construction. We need to consider how he is expressing his will and strength and how that expression may be enhanced or improved. It is this singer's energy that enables us to burst the bonds of an outgrown way of being and moved on to the next level. He indicates that this is a time to take action based on clear spiritual will. His presence indicates great strength and great potential for good. It also reminds us that if we call upon him, we will receive assistance. The presence of this card radiates strength and willpower to the energies around it. Okay. Well, that's pretty sweet. All right, so I am really loving that. That's a really beautiful, beautiful card too. I really like all of the jewel tones in it. Oh, and look at that. You've got what almost looks like a crescent moon showing up at the very top, which I'm wondering if it means that the higher truth is to sometimes be in touch with our intuition. Okay, so let's see what we have here. So the oracle card that I pulled for your fire energy is Ring. Ring. Okay, very curious to see where this goes. We've got the Prince of Cups. Okay, okay. And we also have the Three of Pentacles. Oh, I like it, I like it, I like it. Ah. And the Magician. So much great energy going here. All right. So here, oh goodness. Okay. Where to even start with what I'm noticing? Okay, one, this is very much about cycles. What's interesting that I'm noticing here is that this card here, the Ring, it very much looks like a hand, like stop. It's like it's very closed energy in a way, which is interesting because the concept of a ring is enclosed but also infinite. But then the energy of the Starman is very, particularly in this one, it's very receptive. And again, I just want to point out again, it looks like the crescent moon up above. So this really does feel a lot like some divine knowledge coming your way. Maybe a download is on its way to you. Something about the end of the cycle, moving into a new offering of love. I a lot of times will associate the Prince of Cups not only with the notion of love, but more specifically even with the notion of self-love. And so if you're feeling inspired, if you're feeling creative to do the hard work and put in the effort and collaborate more towards a feeling of love in the world, either for yourself or with your partner, with your family, or with your friends, love is never lost. Yeah, I really, really like that. I really like that energy a lot. And I also, you know, just again, to point to the intuition here, also just look at the third eye chakra there. That's just all lit up. Just all lit up. So much happening there. Okay, let's take a look at what is going on in your thoughts and logic and communication. And we have here the energy of love. Behold the world through the eyes of love. We have the Death card. Oh, goodness gracious. We have the, oh my goodness, we have the Fool card. This is unreal. And we have the World card. Holy heck, friend. Like, that's a lot. That's a lot of. That's a lot of. That's a lot of. Of course it is, yes. So, okay, so we have Death, Fool, in the World. I mean, along with the Starman, the Magician, and the Ring, I mean, I'm a little stunned. I feel like there is a massive change happening in your energy right now. And it's really, you know, I wonder if, you know, it really feels to me like you're moving into this space of really loving yourself, perhaps for the first time, or maybe in a way that you never have before. And of course that requires a death of sorts. It requires cutting away and just letting go of that which no longer serves us, and being willing to step off of the cliff and sort of naively move forward in the hopes of achieving mastery. And I love this world card. I just love this deck. I really do. I mean, oh, of course, it's got all the fucking beautiful queers on it, which just makes my heart sing. But also, I really appreciate the actual artwork itself. And the writing behind it. It's a really great one. I wish I could remember what it was called. Next something tarot. Next New World? Next World? Damn it. I'm terrible at that. Anyways, but this particular world card, like, look at the expression. Look at the expression in that like, there's so much compassion, and it's like a cycle has not only completed, but a cycle has completed with a lesson having been learned and having been taken to heart. And, you know, in this gift of self-love, this moving into this energy of love. And it's really quite lovely. It is also, I feel like it's probably tiring. Like, this just is a whole heck of a lot happening. And of course, the whole world is just bananas. So there's often lots happening, especially right now. But geez, this just, friend, yeah, this feels like a lot. Okay, so let's take a look at water. And in water, we have the confidence card show up. Oh, interesting. We also have the King of Air, who is in some ways kind of confidence sort of personified in some ways. We also have the Ten of Earth. Oh, I just love that card. I really, really love that card. And also the Page of Air. Okay, so it's like, look at what she's doing here. She's just, I mean, the Ten of Air, also the Ten of Swords can be a painful card. That showed up in pile 2 as well, twice actually. And, you know, it can be a painful card, but it's also a card of endings. And I like this representation of it because, like, oh, that's so funny. I'm talking about it as though it's the Ten of Air. It's not. It's the Page of Air. It's a completely different card. I just can't read. So my apologies. Let me recalibrate. I mean, frankly, even better. So, you know, the pages, also sometimes the princesses, called the princesses, depending on what deck you're looking at, but they are new things coming into our lives. Sometimes it's a new person, sometimes it's a new thought, new way of thinking, particularly with the Page of Air, or a new way of communicating. And this may even be just a new way of communicating with yourself. And again, sort of taking on, even within your own mind, that sort of, and with your own emotions, that sort of wise elder. And I mean, don't get me wrong, the King of Air can definitely be a bit sharp-tongued, but in his highest aspect, he is a great source of wisdom and mental clarity, and being able to even bring mental clarity into our emotional realm can be really helpful. And of course, the Ten of Earth, my goodness, this is like, happy home. Like, there's so much good stuff in this. It's the card that oftentimes will have the Tree of Life on it. I don't know if it does in this deck or not, that I've ever noticed anyhow. I mean, I could make the argument that I could pick it out there for sure. Yeah, so, I mean, the Tree of Life is all about, like, I mean, this is the earthiest of earthiness. Like, there's this actual, like, physical manifestation in your world. And look at the composure. You know, like, yeah. I really, gosh, it's like all of this, because here's the thing that's kind of interesting is that I tend to look at it in terms of fire, air, water, earth, because for me anyways, that's sort of the way things filter down. Is first there's an inspiration that's so amorphous it doesn't even have a thought, and then that sort of moves into your thoughts and into your emotions and into your body, and that's what allows you to manifest it. And so I think what's really interesting is at the beginning of the reading here with the less tangible elements being fire and air, there was just so much massive shifting happening. And then here, as we're moving into the emotional realm, it's like really starting to turn that shifting into more tangible clarity, letting go of what no longer serves and embracing new ways of being and thinking about yourself and communicating with yourself and the world around you. Okay, where did I put the rest of those cards? Oh. Let's take a look at what is showing up in your earth. And we have, ooh, interesting. And just to back up what I was just saying, change of mind. So there's, again, just massive shifts coming through. And we have here the Seven of Pentacles. The cards are tiny. And we also have the King of Cups and the Justice card. My goodness, the Justice card is popping out all over the place this evening. So let's see. So the King of Pentacles. So wait a minute, didn't we? So we had the King of Air, and we also had the Prince of Cups, and now we have the King of Cups. I think I just said Pentacles, but sorry, I misspoke. So yeah, my goodness. So in the physical realm, in manifestation, there's been all of this change happening that has really moved to a change of heart. Change of mind is actually what it says. And with the Justice card, you know, really bringing all of those things into balance. So really taking all of these massive shifts and sort of integrating them. And with these two, oh, what a great, I love that. I just love that. That's a great deck of cards. I think that was, I got it at Crafty Wonderland, this deck. I'm made by a local artist here in Portland, and they're just really, really great cards. Wish I could remember her name too, but I don't also. But anyways, the Seven of Pentacles, putting in the work, you know, showing up and doing the job, and actually those moments of when you've done a lot of work and you can just take a moment to feel satisfaction with the work that you've done, and a little bit of admiration, I guess. And then the King of Cups, like, oh my goodness, to have two kings show up. So like mastery over your logical, communicative, thinking, rational mind, and also mastery over your emotional, intuitive, astral aspect of yourself. Like that's, yeah. And going back to these two here, it's really feeling like integration. Yeah, and especially with the Death and the Fool and the Magician, I just wonder, have you been doing shadow work? When I lost a little, oh, he just fell all the way into the pocket. Yeah, I wonder, but whatever you've been doing, you're now effectively shifting your energy to come more in alignment and more in a sense of balance, and that's terrific. Okay, to finish this off, I had also pulled two oracle cards. Oh, interesting. Okay, and the first one is communication is key. New moon in Gemini. And yeah, like bringing those two aspects, parts of yourselves, communicating even within the self, is unbelievably important. And then just as a final question, what lights you up? Now that you've had this alignment, or now that you're in the process of this alignment, what are you going to do with it? What are you going to bring into your life that lets you light up? Starseed. That's whatever light we bring to ourselves, we can manifest out into the world. I hope that whatever light you find to fill you will be beautiful. And best of luck to you. Take care. I hope you found this helpful. Group 4. If this is the unicorn that you selected, then this reading is for you. Let's see if I can get this to work without breaking it. First, I pulled a fairy card, and the one for you is the Lady of the Harvest. Let's see what the book has to say about her. It is time to accept change, to move on to the next phase. Power and strength in the present and future come from releasing the past. This is a time of liberation, and we might as well cooperate with it. It will happen whether we want it to or not. Release and liberation may be painful or joyful depending on the circumstances. Cry if you want to, be joyful if that is appropriate, but in either case, trust the process, acknowledge what you feel, and prepare to move on. That is just lovely. I love that energy. Okay, so let's see what we got. Oh, excellent. Right off the bat here, we've got Aura. And then we also have the King of Swords, the Star card, and the Devil card. And I just would like to say that, I mean, sure, I guess it's reasonable enough to assume that perhaps card within the same deck will have similar color themes, but this is not from the same deck, and just looks as though almost it could be. That's really, really fascinating, and there's a lot of what I call blurpaline. So blurpaline is purple, blue, and green when it happens kind of all at once, like this, or especially like right there with the purple, blue, green happening all at once. Anyways, there's lots of blurpaline going on here, and that is just really lovely. Okay, so we have the King of Swords, we have the Devil, and the Star. The Star is like wish fulfillment. The Star is wish fulfillment, and the King of Swords is mastery over your thoughts and over your way of thinking, and the way that you are able to communicate with clarity and with speed and precision, and having discernment, and again, just like mental clarity, mental focus. And of course, the Devil card is sometimes the stuff that holds us back, the stuff that ties, that bind, the addictive behaviors, or not even necessarily addictive sometimes, but thought processes that get us tangled up in. And it feels like energetically, you're really being asked, like, so these are the cards that I pulled for fire. So this is all in your like creative and inspirational wheelhouse, this stuff that we're looking for. And like, it's a lot of energy happening right there in your aura. And I wonder how you're feeling. Like, holy heck, that's just a lot. Like, it's like, oh, the highs of the high, and all the shit I gotta deal with, and like having the discernment and the mental clarity to both be able to reach for your wish fulfillment, reach for being able to alchemize, being able to transmute what needs to be transmuted, and you know, being able to do so by letting go of the things that no longer serve, and having the mental clarity to gift that to yourself in a way that isn't harming yourself anymore. You know, like sometimes when we engage in stuff that we wish we didn't, we can get a little down on ourselves about it and judge ourselves really most hideously for it. And at the end of the day, that actually doesn't really help us. Judging ourselves rather than judging the circumstance can be can make things a little bit messy. And I feel like this King of Swords here is really going to help out with keeping that a little bit clear. Maybe making it a little bit easier to see that which is no longer serving you and that is really getting in the way of you being able to obtain your highest wish fulfillment. Yeah, it's not for nothing. I'm just noticing that this figure is really pointing down here, and I think you're really being called on to, being asked by the universe to, yeah, really just release what no longer serves you. All right, let's take a look at what's showing up in your air category. Here we have work of art. Be the portrait of divine beauty. Oh, that is a gorgeous message. Fucking love that right there. We have the Page of Swords, the Chariot. I love it. And the Hermit. Oh my goodness, you got so much happening here. Oh my goodness. All right, so we've got the Page of Swords. Oh, that's like the gift. Also, this is sometimes the Princess of Swords or the Princess of Air. Yeah, it's like it's where a new thought process, a new way of thinking or a new way of perceiving really shifts into reality. So, yeah, I'm just going to put that aside and keep going here. The Hermit is really all about like looking within and not necessarily from a place of like isolation. It's like intentionally looking within to find your own light, to find your own source. And the Chariot is all about like moving forward from this place of balanced understanding and being a little bit above almost the fray in a way. Oh gosh, this is so fascinating. This is so fascinating. Okay, so, you know, I really think you're being asked, you know, again, with that first row, with all of the big stuff happening there, it's like you're really being asked to go within and find your own light. And again, release what no longer serves you. So the purpose, so that you can then be in this place of like moving forward with a sense of balance and things being equal and stable, so that you can then take this new way of thinking, this new thought process, and really drive it forward. Yeah, and again, I'm just remembering, you know, like the Lady of the Harvest, you know, it really is time. Like you've done all of the sowing, you know, you've worked so hard to change your way of thinking about things, and you have gone within, and it is time to move forward. Let's see where that's going to take you in the emotional realm, in the water realm. Knowledge here is showing up, which I love that. Messenger of Earth, 8 of Fire, and Ace of Fire. Damn. That is a lot of fire going on in your emotional realm. And don't get me wrong, it's also grounded by that earth energy, which I am absolutely adoring. Yeah, it's like the universe is getting ready to bring you this new gift, this joyous celebratory. I mean, a lot of times the aces are considered sort of the roots of things. They are the unmanifest element at its very core. So it's like sometimes with the Ace of Fire, I think of it literally as like divine inspiration, like that thing that seems to come from nowhere almost magically. And with the Messenger of Earth too, it's like the universe is like telling you, hey, knock, 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 we're about to give you this great gift. And with it, I mean, the eights are about victory. And the eights are about moving forward and moving closer to actually manifesting, moving closer to, you know, completion of a cycle. Like you're so close to being there. There's just, you know, like the eights sometimes also denote a need for continuing to put into the good work, you know, and continuing to move forward and using that knowledge of self and also that knowledge of this connection that you currently have to the universe. Like, you know, I wonder if you're channeling at all or you know, if you're really feeling how this energy is really impacting you, because there's really quite a lot going on here. It's all really quite lovely. Okay, so let's also take a look at the Earth realm, and that here we have the Love card, which doesn't get any more beautiful than that. We also have the Four of Pentacles, the Eight of Pentacles, and Judgment. Ah, the call. Yes. All right. So you really are being asked to be grateful and aware of all of the gifts that you've received and continue putting in all of the hard work and putting in all of the due diligence. And the universe really... universe, self, insert whatever language you want, but the energies here seem to be implying that you are really being asked, you are really being invited to answer the call and to embrace all of the potential in all of this energy. I mean, you've got love, you've got knowledge, you've got beauty, you've got the Star card. I mean, my goodness, there's so much happening here. There's so much harvesting that's happening here from all of the hard work that you've put in and all of the diligence that you've put in. And yeah, all of the rewards are really just right there, ready for you. Yeah, I hope that you reach out and are able to grab them. I also pulled a couple of aura cards. No, that's not what I did at all. I also pulled a couple of oracle cards. And the two that I pulled for you were Keepers of the Earth. You are not alone. Ancient ancestors stand beside you. So I guess I would encourage you, based on that card, to, if you are struggling with all of this change and to answer this call and to release what no longer serves you, to have the discernment to be able to even release the risk of the fear of reaching for your own goals and reaching for your own wish fulfillment. You know, I would invite you to call on your guides and ancestors. And if you don't know how to do that, there's lots of resources out there. Whatever way it happens for you is the way that it's intended to happen. But I do encourage you to deepen that relationship. You might find solace in it if you're finding that all of this other change is just a bit difficult. The other oracle card I pulled for you is a new romantic cycle begins. For some of you, that may be with another person. For some of you, that may be a romantic cycle with yourself. really hope you found this helpful. I wonder if I'll do this again. Anyways, happiest of prides. I hope wherever you are, whenever you see this, you find a message that lifts you up, makes you feel seen, makes you feel validated, and makes you feel connected to the world around you. Be well.